Before computers became a common part of our homes and offices, people had very different ways of communicating over long distances. Imagine you wanted to send a message to a friend who lived in another city or even another country. You could not simply type a message and press send. Instead, you would have to write a letter by hand. This required a pen, paper, and an envelope. You had to carefully write down your thoughts, making sure your handwriting was clear enough for the other person to read. It was a slow and deliberate process that took time and effort. Once your letter was written, the journey was only just beginning. You needed to buy a stamp and put it on the envelope. Then you would have to find a post box to mail your letter. From there, the postal service would take over. Your letter would be collected, sorted at a post office, and then transported by van, train, or even airplane to its destination. This entire process could take several days, or if the letter was going overseas, it might take weeks. Waiting for a reply was also a long process, as your friend had to go through the same steps to send their message back to you. This method of communication shaped how people interacted because sending a letter took so much time. The messages were often long and detailed. People would share news, stories, and feelings, knowing that it might be a while before they could communicate again. It was a very different pace of life. Important business documents and official notices also traveled this way, making everything from paying bills to applying for jobs a much slower affair. The physical nature of letters also meant they could be lost or damaged during their long journey, adding another layer of uncertainty to communication. In this world, without instant messages, communication required a great deal of patience. People planned their correspondence carefully. They did not expect immediate answers to their questions. The excitement of receiving a letter in the mail was a special event, a tangible connection to someone far away. You could hold the letter in your hands, read it over and over, and keep it as a memory. This physical connection is something that has changed dramatically with the arrival of new technologies, which have completely transformed how we send and receive information across the globe, making our world feel much smaller. The story of email begins long before most people had a computer in their home. In the 1960s, computers were huge machines that filled entire rooms. They were mostly found in universities and large research centers. Scientists and researchers needed a way to share messages and files with each other using these big computers. The very first forms of email were simple. They allowed users of the same large computer to leave messages for one another. It was like leaving a digital note on a shared bulletin board. This was useful, but the messages could not travel outside of that single computer system. The big change came in 1971 with a computer programmer named Ray Tomlinson. He was working on a project called ARPANET, which was the network that later grew into the internet we use today. Tomlinson figured out a way to send a message from one computer to another computer across the network. He chose the @ symbol to separate the user's name from the name of their computer, or host. This is the same format we still use for email addresses today. His first test email was sent between two computers sitting right next to each other, but it proved that the system worked. It was a revolutionary step forward. For many years, email remained a tool used mostly by people in the academic and military worlds. It was not something the general public knew about or had access to. Using it required special knowledge of computer commands, and you needed access to the exclusive ARPANET. However, as personal computers became more affordable and popular in the 1980s and 90s, things started to change. Companies began offering internet services to the public. Soon, anyone with a computer and a modem could get an email address and start sending messages across the world almost instantly. The rise of email in the 1990s was incredibly fast. It changed from a specialist tool to a universal method of communication. Services like Hotmail and Yahoo Mail offered free email accounts to everyone, which made it even more accessible. Suddenly, people could communicate with friends and family on the other side of the planet in a matter of seconds without paying for expensive international phone calls or waiting weeks for a letter to arrive. The digital age of communication had truly begun, and the simple electronic message was at the heart of this massive global transformation. Today, email is a fundamental part of daily life for millions of people around the world. At work, it is one of the most important tools for communication. Colleagues use email to share important documents, schedule meetings, and discuss projects. It creates a written record of conversations, which is very useful for keeping track of decisions and agreements. Managers send out company-wide announcements, and teams collaborate on tasks by sending updates and attachments back and forth. For many jobs, checking and responding to emails is one of the first things an employee does when they start their day and the last thing they do before they leave. Email is also essential in the world of education. Students use it to communicate with their teachers and professors. They can ask questions about homework, submit their assignments, and receive important information about class schedules or exams. Schools and universities use email to send out newsletters to parents and to announce important events or closures. It allows for quick and efficient communication between the institution and its community. Group projects are also made easier as students can share research and coordinate their work without having to meet in person every time, making learning more flexible. Even in our personal lives, email continues to play a vital role. While we might use social media or messaging apps for quick chats, email is often used for more formal or important personal messages. For example, you might email a friend to plan a holiday together, sharing links to flights and hotels. People use email to send digital birthday cards, share family photos, or write longer, more thoughtful letters to loved ones who live far away. It is also the main way we manage our online accounts, from online shopping to banking, as companies send confirmations, receipts, and account updates directly to our inbox. The versatility of email makes it an indispensable tool. It serves as our digital mailbox for everything from official government correspondence and job applications to newsletters from our favorite hobbies and discount codes from shops. Our email inbox often acts as a personal archive, a searchable history of our conversations, purchases, and appointments. It connects our professional, educational, and social worlds in one convenient place. Despite the rise of newer communication technologies, email remains a reliable and universal platform that underpins much of our activity in the modern digital world. When we compare email to traditional letters, the biggest difference is speed. Sending a letter through the postal service is a process that takes days or even weeks. An email, on the other hand, travels across the world in just a few seconds. This incredible speed has completely changed our expectations for communication. We can send a question to a colleague in another country and potentially receive an answer within minutes. This immediacy makes business, education, and personal relationships move at a much faster pace than ever before. The delay associated with physical mail has been almost entirely eliminated by electronic messaging. Another major difference is cost and convenience. To send a letter, you need to buy paper, an envelope, and a stamp. While the cost for one letter is small, it adds up if you send many. Email, by contrast, is virtually free. Once you have an internet connection, you can send as many emails as you want without any extra cost. It is also much more convenient. You can write and send an email from your computer or phone wherever you are at any time of day or night. You do not need to find a post box or visit a post office. You can also attach photos, documents, and videos, which is impossible with a standard letter. However, traditional letters have some special qualities that emails often lack. A handwritten letter feels much more personal. The time and effort someone takes to write and send a physical letter can make the message feel more meaningful and special. Receiving a letter in the mail can be a delightful surprise, something tangible you can hold and keep. Emails, being so quick and easy to send, can sometimes feel less personal and more formal or transactional. The unique character of a person's handwriting is lost, replaced by uniform digital text on a screen. In conclusion, email is incredibly important in our lives because it has made global communication accessible, fast, and affordable for everyone. It broke down the barriers of time and distance that once defined how we interacted with people far away. While we have many new ways to communicate, email remains the backbone of our digital identity and a vital tool for work, school, and managing our personal affairs. It successfully bridges the gap between quick, informal chats and formal, important correspondence. The invention of email was not just a technological improvement, it was a fundamental shift that reshaped our society and connected the world in a way that was once unimaginable.